Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from all corners of the globe. I am your host, Michael Swigert, here on the New Human Project podcast. Today I have with me Hannah Savage. Hannah is an independent filmmaker and YouTuber. Today we will discuss Hannah's experience as an actor and YouTube producer. Stay tuned for an exciting interview here on the New Human Project podcast. Hello and welcome to TNHP.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. So, Hannah with an H is what it is, correct?
Correct.
Yes, Hannah with an H. It doesn't sound the same way said backwards, does it?
No, it's just spelled backwards.
Spelled backwards, okay. There was a little bit of confusion there earlier. But yeah, I can't believe we made it happen in such a short period of time as well. Since the premiere of the films, right?
Yeah, and that was like maybe a week or two ago, and here we are.
I think so, yeah. We mentioned you in another podcast, so I figured it was bound to happen at some point in episode 9 with Terrell.
Yeah, he's the homie.
Yeah, of course. Well, anyways, I won't small talk anymore. Let's get right into it. So, we're talking today about kind of your videography and film and the things that you do with that. But let's take a step back for a second and try and understand who you are. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up here in good old Columbus, Ohio. I've been here my whole life.
I would ask you if you plan on living here for the rest of your life, but that's a question for a later segment. So were you really into movies or YouTube or TV or whatnot as a kid?
Definitely like TV shows and YouTube. I would watch like every 2010s, like stereotypical YouTuber you can think of. I probably watched them, and I was always just so inspired by the audience that they had. Like, it's like they had their own little community and they liked similar things, and I kind of always wanted that.
As far as like filmmakers or actors or YouTubers, can you name a couple that were your favorites or that you still look up to now or are interested in, I guess?
Well, as far as like YouTubers, the ones that I still watch, sometimes I'll watch Smosh, but recently I've been into a lot of like people who make video essays and like documentary style content. Like, one of my favorites is Dodford. Like, he makes these really elaborate documentaries where pretty much he puts together a bunch of like archival footage of whoever he's talking about, and it's like they get to tell their own story, and I really wish I could do something similar to that. And there's another one, his name is Jay Aubrey. He also does like different kinds of video essays and stuff, and I love just watching like long form content. Like, I've watched videos that are like 9 hours before. Like, if the longer the better, honestly.
That's really interesting because a lot of stuff nowadays is short form, but I guess I can agree with you depending on the subject at hand. For me, like documentaries and things like, history and all that sort of jazz is really what piques my interest. But I hate to admit it, but I was also a fan of Smosh back in the day when I was younger, when I was a kiddo. So
yeah,
I hate to admit it, but I was.
I loved old school Smosh. Not so much now, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that stuff in a while. But as far as like filmmaking, so you do YouTube, but you also do directing and acting, correct?
Haven't tackled directing yet, unless you count like my own YouTube videos, but I've done some acting.
I see. So as far as film goes, do you have like a favorite movie or TV show that you really enjoy?
It feels stupid to say what my favorite film is.
Oh, well, no judgment here. You can say
because I don't feel like it's like this extravagant like thing with advanced cinematography and all of that stuff, I just really like the movie.
Is it a Terrell Uja film?
Well, he does have some pretty great films.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the movie? We can always edit it out later.
My favorite movie is Enchanted.
Enchanted. That's that came out that's the animated one, right? No?
Well, it has animated elements, but it came out in 2007. It has Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey in it.
Okay, I was thinking of a different movie. Okay, what genre is that?
Well, I guess you could. It's like a romantic type of movie. I think you could qualify it as that.
Yeah, I see. A romance.
Yeah.
Do you like The Notebook as well?
It's okay. I prefer rom-coms over just straight romance movies.
Yeah. Have you seen the sequel to The Notebook? I believe it's called The Journal.
Are you for real?
No, it's okay. I just wanted to see how far I could go with that, but no, that's a joke. So, what motivated you to become a videographer, an actor? What are some of the things that you really enjoy about that, or that you said, hey, I really want to do YouTube, hey, I really want to act in movies? What I guess maybe even what opportunities presented themselves where you're like, yeah, I could see myself doing this, or yes, I want to continue to do this? I've
just always liked being creative. I think it pretty much started when I was about 8 years old. I wrote this short story for my class, and my teacher really loved it, and even showed it to my mom at parent teacher conferences. And it wasn't even this elaborate thing. I think it was me and a bunch of friends. We were in a limo, because that was the coolest thing back then to me at 8.
Yes.
And we were driving through a tunnel, and then we became teenagers, because being a teenager was also the coolest thing you could be.
That's actually, for a second there, I was like, okay, but that's actually it's kind of neat concept.
I've always just been really into writing, because I feel like I tend to be more of a quieter person. So I write a lot of my feelings and different stuff out. But my mom would never let me sit around the house during the summer. She'd always send me to summer camp and things like that. And so I ended up taking some kind of editing video thing when I was maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And it was at the Career Center that I would eventually end up going to for 11th and 12th grade. But we did some video editing with Windows Movie Maker, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a little bit, one of my favorite musicians is Michael Jackson, as most people know. I'm literally wearing a Michael Jackson shirt as we speak.
You are wearing a Michael Jackson shirt.
But when I got more into him and watching his short films and all of that, it really just made me want to learn how to edit. And then that kind of spiraled more into learning how to use things like Photoshop and all of that to make fan edits. And it kind of just became me wanting to be more creative and wanting to direct. At first, I wanted to be a director because I liked the control. I liked being able to control the vision and everything. But I feel like I'm kind of not really meant for it, because I don't like being the boss of people, and I like being my own person and working independently more. So then, I met my lovely friend Terrell, and I went to his showcase in 2022, and I just thought it was so cool how he had his films on a big screen, because I had never seen someone do something like that, because people talk about it, but they're never about it. And that's what I really like about him. I like that he's actually about this movie stuff. Yeah. So I asked him if I could be in his next film, and the rest is history. Yeah.
No, it's really an amazing experience, I think, to be a part of film, being able to act, being able to, be a part of that scene. I don't feel like that's something that a lot of us have had experience with before. I know before I met Terrell, I didn't really have that experience, and now I loved it. And being able to go to the premiere and see everyone that's there, and then also enjoy the movies for what they are, I think that's a very unique thing. So what is your favorite thing to do? I guess you could say, I would say directing or acting, but it seems like you mostly just do acting and then videography. Like which, or YouTube, we'll call it YouTube for simplicity. Which is kind of your favorite?
It kind of depends. I mean, I really like doing both. When acting, I feel like I can kind of escape and just become a different person. And when I'm doing my videos, I feel like I can throw more of myself into it, like me as a person and not being somebody else. So they both just have different perks. I don't really think I could choose. I really like both of them.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would like acting because I do tend to be like more quieter into myself, but it's just something about being on camera and like being somebody else that just makes you want to act out, you know?
Yeah, do you think the reason that you never liked acting, or maybe one of the reasons, is because you were nervous, or you classified yourself as a more quiet person and you thought that, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone?
Yeah, probably. I mean, even if you look at like the film franchise I was in, Matched, if you look at the very first film and then look at Unmatched, which just premiered and is on YouTube.
Yes, it is.
You can really tell like I'm more comfortable on camera now.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about your film career to start. So when did you begin filming and what was your first film? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit earlier with your summer camp that you went to. I guess you could also include YouTube in that.
Well, as far as YouTube, my first YouTube like adventure was when I was about 12 and I made like a Michael Jackson channel. I made like several subsequent Michael Jackson channels. I had a Club Penguin channel. My Club Penguin channel is still up, but I will never reveal the username. But as far as film, I remember in like 10th grade, I actually I wrote my first script, and it was called Newly Deads, and it was about this newlywed couple who went on a honeymoon trip, like to a camping trip. Like, who goes like camping for their honeymoon? But yeah. Whatever. And like there's this guy who's trying to like kill the wife or whatever, but like it never got made. I do still have the script. It's not good. It's not even formatted correctly. But fast forwarding, I got more into acting and script writing and film and stuff once I started doing films with Terrell. And my first film with him was Matched in like 2022.
I see. As far as that film goes, that sounds, well, to me, Newly Deads, that sounds like Corpse Bride a little bit. Is that kind of the vibe you're going for?
I feel like it would have just became like Scary Movie. Like,
I see. What is your favorite genre to write and act?
I'd say I like doing comedy. That's so far really all that I've done.
Yeah.
But I like writing rom-coms. Like I've written one rom-com, which was I'd say it's the only script I've written like as an adult.
Yeah. Using
air quotes that nobody can see. But the only reason I feel like I was able to write that one is because it was based on a true story.
Yeah.
I haven't really dabbled in any other scripts since, but maybe an idea will come to me at some point.
Yeah, of course. As far as like writing goes, you still feel like this is kind of a new venture for you?
Script writing for sure. It's definitely a different ball game, and yeah. It's like with Rematched and Unmatched, the other two subsequent films after Matched, I wrote those with Terrell, and it's like seeing him just be able to take the laptop and just start typing away, and he's just like so good at this, and I'm just like, how do you even do this? Like, I don't understand.
Do you wish, or do you want to become better at script writing, or do you want to focus more on acting?
I would want to become better at script writing because I feel like writing has always been like my first passion. I've always just felt like I've had a lot to say. I kind of just feel like that's the thing that I was put here to do, was to just put my voice out there, whether it's in my videos or it's writing.
I see. So obviously you can do both. There's no one saying that you can't do directing and acting. But if you had to choose one, if you could only do one, which would it be and why?
It would still probably be acting.
Really?
I feel like, as the director, you're responsible for too much. And you don't really get to have any fun, I feel like.
Yeah.
You have to stay in the zone. You have to make sure it comes out the way that you kind of intend for it to come out, and make sure that everyone's okay on set and all of that stuff. But as an actress or an actor, you just get to show up, say some stuff, and go home. Yeah.
And you get to pretend to be something that you're not, which is kind of fun.
I mean, some people do that without being in movies, but
Well, that's a conversation for a different day.
Perhaps so.
As far as directing goes, does the disinterest or the lack of appeal for that, does that come from the fact that you would have to manage a lot of people? Is that just something that would like stress you out and you just much rather do the acting, focus on your part, and you're like, I don't really want to have to deal with all of these people and trying to, keep everything organized?
It's that, but I also feel like there's a fine line between being bossy, like really mean, and being very passive. And I don't know how to have that middle ground.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I could be mean if I had to, but I feel like a lot of people also just see me as this very passive person, and they might not take me seriously in a role like that.
I see. But that is something that you're trying to work on.
Yeah, I think I'd like to try directing at least once. Yeah. I try everything at least one time. I tried acting one time and it worked out. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'd like to try to write a song at one point, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. So, but you are a co-director. You did do co-directing. So you have done some sort of directing, right? Or is it just script writing?
Script writing, producing, okay. And just a lot of... I was mainly just producing, like a production assistant and things like that.
I see. So what would you say is like the difference between directing and producing?
For Terrell's project, he did Labyrinth. I was the production assistant on that. And with that, I was pretty much in charge of everything that everyone else wasn't. So things like making sure that people had their wigs and preparing the wigs to go on their heads and making them look more realistic. Reading lines to people when they didn't know them, and just doing different things like that. Just even keeping people, entertained or like off in different areas while scenes are being shot. Just pretty much anything and everything, just running around. But I did kind of like it. I felt important, even if I wasn't important, but I was important.
Well, you were most certainly important. And I can tell you were important because I had several people come up to me and ask me if that was my real hair, which is a good sign. It means that people couldn't really tell that it was a wig.
Well, your wig was a little better than some other people's on set.
Yes. But good job with that. So I want to ask you a couple more things about acting before we move on to another set of questions I have for you. How do you get into character for a role, and what are some of your favorite characters that you've played?
So I've pretty much only played the same characters across 3 movies.
Yeah.
And they were a set of twins that were very different. One was more shy and reserved, and the other was a heathen, as some would say, a Jezebel, perhaps. Mm-hmm. So for Unmatched, they were both going to be featured on screen, so I really wanted them to make it seem like it was 2 different people. Yeah. And a lot of what I did was I would listen to certain music. It really helped me a lot to make like specific playlists for each character kind of like what they're feeling throughout the movie, and like just different songs that go with that tone, and also with like the wardrobe. Because one of the characters kind of just wears a lot of dark colors, and they're kind of just like covered up because they're shy, and the other one's just like got bright colors and she's wearing more revealing clothing. So I just kind of like to completely jump in, like embody them almost.
I see. Method acting.
Yeah,
that's interesting, especially about the music. But I guess that makes sense because music has a very large impact on, I think, who we are. Or like, the things that we enjoy. I don't think you necessarily like become what you listen to in some weird way, but I think that there are elements of music that maybe rub off on you, and
definitely
parts of music that you adapt into, I guess, who you are, or the things that you enjoy. Not always the case. I mean, as someone who listens to a lot of different things, I think that there's elements from different things that I enjoy, but I'm not saying that music changes your personality, but I do think that is one of the ways to possibly help get into character. I didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
Yeah, like for the more Jezebel character, I listen to a lot of Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
And, for the other character, it was like just more somber songs, like Jasmine Sullivan, a little bit of bust your windows out,
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, if you listen to sad music, it's hard for me to be happy when I listen to sad music. I think that sort of thing is what you're getting at, like the feelings that you want to encapsulate. Yeah, good point. I have one more question for you about acting specifically. So, if there's any character that you could play or that you want to play in the future, whether it's like, big box office or just, independent film, what is a character that you wish you could really play or that you want to explore? Could be from your own writing or, an idea taken from a large film. A well-known film, I mean.
I don't know why this is the first one that came to mind, but Elle Woods from Legally Blonde. I literally don't know why that was the first one.
That's okay. I don't think I know that one.
I
know the movie, but
yeah. She's just that girl. It's like you would think that she is the stuck-up person, but she's just the most confident and cool and humble like type of girl, and she's got it going on, and same. But it would also be really cool to play a villain as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people don't picture me being like evil and mean, like someone like
yeah.
Like Monique from Precious. Because, she was really mean. She threw a TV down the stairs at her daughter.
Jeez. No, I agree. I think it would be very interesting to play a villain. That's cool. I think I said something similar when I was talking to Terrell. It's kind of fun to play something that, I don't necessarily think that I'm an evil person at heart. So I think it's kind of interesting to act as something that is very different than yourself. So I agree with that.
Or playing a serial killer, like a Dexter type.
You like that TV show?
Well, the first rendition of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't really dabbled in much of the other renditions. I did see New Blood, but I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. We won't talk about that. Yeah. That's I understand what you mean by that. I think that's interesting. What are some challenges that you faced acting or in any of the videos that you've been in? Like, have you faced any sort of hardships or negativity from people? How have you responded and how have you overcome that?
Well, as far as acting, I think the hardest part is just other people on set sometimes, because it gets late. Sometimes the conditions, like the weather, it's cold or it's raining, and, lines keep getting messed up, or, lighting isn't working out, or like, just nature being nature, and it just gets really tough.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you just want to quit. But then you kind of have to think about the bigger picture in that situation. Like, we're making a whole film, and this is going to be part of a story that someone could relate to, and sometimes you just gotta thug it out, as they say.
Thug it out?
Yeah.
Is that what the kids say these days?
I wouldn't know. I'm very old.
Oh. We're still in the same age group.
Only for a couple more years.
Only for a couple more years?
Well, the rest of 28 and 29. As far as like videos and like YouTube and all of that, yeah, I definitely get a lot of hate.
Really?
Oh, I don't want to say it like, oh, all I get is hate.
Yeah.
And like when it tends to be hate, it's the same comments over and over. It's the same like critique. Yeah. And it's a lot of it is people don't like my commentary. And they don't like my commentary because it's me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm being myself. Yeah. And that involves me being funnier or like being lame or corny or whatever. And I guess people on the internet don't like it when you have a personality, but I don't care. Yeah. I'm going to keep doing what I do. So in that instance, I kind of just ignore those comments, but sometimes I have time and I'll go ahead and respond.
You respond, I see.
Yeah, because sometimes I have a little time on my hands and I might have something to say.
Yeah. Pour a little more gasoline on the fire,
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea. No, well that's great though that you're able to separate that from yourself and what you enjoy doing. I think that too the internet can be hypercritical. Yeah. Especially because it's very easy for me to say something when I don't even know you versus when I'm sitting right in front of you. There's a little bit of that.
Especially with fandoms, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
But, I feel like I'm confident in the content that I make, and I like the videos I put out, and I think they're funny, and I think they're great, so it really doesn't matter what a bunch of strangers have to say. I mean, unless the hate is like, it's constructive. Like, if it's something I can use, like, that's fine, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah. Most of the time it's just like, all your videos are the same, you suck type deal. Yeah, that's kind of what I see with like a lot of content creation.
And that's when, I reply and I say thanks for the AdSense because you still watched it.
Yeah. Thank you for the ad revenue. But no, I do enjoy your videos. I've seen a couple.
Oh wow, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed them.
Thanks.
I showed you that I watched a couple of them.
I never want to assume.
Well, superstardom, it's hard to know who watches your videos.
I don't know about all that.
No, I want to ask you another question. Unfortunately, it's not as fun, but I'm just curious, have you experienced any hardships or discrimination as an actor or a YouTuber?
I'd say as a YouTuber, yes. Yeah. But my experience with acting on Terrell's sets specifically has always been good.
Yeah.
Nothing like that has ever happened. Good. But I feel like specifically because I'm more so in the Michael Jackson fandom, it's more male dominated. So I feel like a lot of men think that they can talk to me any kind of way, or they can hit on me, or like try to say disgusting things to me. Yeah. Because I've gotten comments like that before. Yeah. Because, in my videos, I don't like show my face really a lot all of the time. I just will have my voice. Yeah. And I've gotten comments of men saying that they were doing some inappropriate things to my voice. And it's like, that is not something you should say to someone you don't know. And in general, don't say that.
Yeah. Again, I think that's something that if you are facing someone face to face, it's probably not something that you would say. But because of the separation of the internet, I think that people are a little too comfortable with what they say on the internet sometimes. I'm sorry you had to read that. Luckily, I'm also, on a different side of that coin, but, luckily I haven't had to deal with that. I'm sorry that you've had to
So it's mainly that. It's mainly getting cyberly catcalled.
I see.
I haven't really experienced any racism, at least not yet,
Yeah.
but definitely being cyberly catcalled, it's not great.
Yeah, I can imagine so. Well, I mean, it hasn't happened to me, but I don't think that would be very fun.
And then, just the films that I've been in, they are a bit more, I guess, sexually charged. So I feel like that also makes people feel like they can say those things to me, but, it's a character. It's not me. It's just me playing a character.
Yeah, especially in the Match series, it's kind of the whole theme, poking fun at, I guess, both sides, or trying to reveal,
Yeah.
I guess, social norms. I know I talked about that in the podcast with Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience with that? Like, how people responded to the film that you co-directed, I guess, or co-produced?
Well, I mean, it's like it wasn't the comments on the movie that bothered me on YouTube, like because he posted it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was that you can see like the spikes in the viewership, and like most of the spikes are those sexually charged scenes, and it makes me feel really gross and grimy because I'm just like, well, why would you watch those specific parts of the film so many times?
Yeah, rather than, because there is a very clear message in that film. Yeah, could you say the name of this film, just that way?
Rematched.
Yes, this is Rematched, and this is the one where the girl is going through the breakup.
Yeah.
Her twin tells her, you should do whatever to get over it, essentially. And there is a clear, like, message to this story that is trying to show the difference of social norms with this type of culture.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the reasons, why people might not necessarily take issue with it, but, use those parts for different reasons, I guess, rather than trying to actually understand the purpose of the film. Which is weird because the films there's no sort of like, I mean, there's inappropriate themes, but there's no sort of like, actual inappropriate like imagery, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is very odd to me that happened.
I feel like Rematched is the sleeper of all of them just because I feel like it has a very important lesson in it. Like you said, like pretty much like trying to get back at other people to make a situation better. It doesn't do anything but hurt yourself. And in the end, you have to do your own healing and be okay inside.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people just kind of let that go over their heads because, haha, she did inappropriate things with a homeless man.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe I just said that and a lot of people are going to hear it. I did not do inappropriate things with a homeless man.
In the movie, that character did, yes. Yes. So, yeah, there's adult themes in the film, but there's no sort of, like, actual inappropriate imagery. But for some reason, people were sort of hyper-focused on that, and you think that maybe they kind of missed the core message of that film was there's really no satisfaction in revenge, especially in, like, relationships.
Yeah, I feel like that it's that way with a lot of films, though, like not just this one. A lot of people, especially with comedies, I mean, there are like lessons hidden within comedies and things, but people just want to laugh. They just want to see the ignorance. They just want to see someone get their wig snatched.
Do you think that's a result of possibly just the internet culture today?
The internet culture, the human condition. I mean, you like work a 9 to 5 and you pay bills and you go through all this different stuff. You just want to turn on something and laugh.
Yeah.
So you just want to see things like that, I guess.
Yeah, I see. The human condition, I see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
But I think that there is something to be said about, the meaningfulness of creativity and art, I think it's something that you should still explore and seek out, regardless of if you're just looking for a quick laugh. I think that when you find, not necessarily like deeper meaning, but when you find purpose in something, to me that, makes the time spent doing that activity better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, because I think, if so much of your life is just going through the motions, if you don't have any sort of purpose, or if, your sole motive is to go home and just completely unplug and forget about everything that happened, then I feel like there's a lacking sense of purpose. And I feel like that's kind of an issue, especially with creativity. And I feel like that's a big problem, because, and I think that's one of the reasons, that I'm concerned with creativity. People talk about AI and things like that, but I also feel like, it's the consumption of media and consumption of art should also have purpose within it. And I think that when you overlook that purpose and you don't understand, the meaning, maybe, you don't get as much out of it. And I think that we can learn a lot from, music, TV, films, and video games, and all these things that people spend so much time creating. I think it's very important to look past just the parts that make you laugh, or the parts that, distract you from the normal day.
Yeah, of course. Always, man.
Was that sarcasm, or was that...
No.
Okay.
I told you, you sound very astute.
Oh, thank you. Well, I do talk a little bit too much, but that's why I have a podcast. We will be right back. And now, a quick word for our sponsors. As a martial artist, our philosophy and way of life goes beyond the walls of where we train. As an artist of life, self-expression is the name of the game. What better way to express your style than with streetwear that tells others who's in town? Master artist and calligrapher Yasuko, owner of Dragon Ika Calligraphy Art, has everything you need. Whether it's hand-painted calligraphy shirts, custom-made Japanese calligraphy necklaces, artistic drinkware, or seasonal specials, Dragon Ika has everything you need to express your appreciation for life and art. Support your local business and check out Dragon Ika Calligraphy Art on Instagram at dragon_Ika, or visit their website at www.dragonika.com. That's Ika, spelled IKKA. Use code NEWHUMAN10 to get 10% off all merchandise. Alright, listen. I'm a dude with long hair, and I can't hide my secret any longer. For years, I've struggled with finding the right products for my hair. I've always wanted a long flowing mane, but I just wanted it to look good and healthy, Well, I finally found the perfect thing. I started using Vuori shampoo and conditioner bars about 2 years ago, and I haven't looked back since. They have a plethora of products for different hair types, which for me may change depending on the season. Another thing I love about their products is that they use all natural ingredients, rice water being the main ingredient, and they avoid using sulfates and plastics in their products. Vuori has partnered with the Red Yao tribe of the Longsheng River area in China to bring sustainable and unique products to the market. I highly recommend that you, male or female, check out their unique products and designs on their website at www.vuori.com. That's Vuori, spelled V-I-O-R-I. Use code SWIGERTSTRONG at checkout to get 10% off your order. And now back to the show. So there's a topic that I know you kind of wanted to talk about a little bit, and this is kind of unrelated to specifically film and YouTube. And this is kind of just talking from the perspective of our generation. How do you feel about your life and the lives of creative young people in this generation?
I feel like it's getting harder and harder to be a creative. I mean, aside from like the mundaneness of life, you might come home and you might not have it in you to create. You might not also have the time to create. And then, like as you said, with AI and things, you could kind of be like, well, what's the point, everything's being made digitally. Nobody really craves real, raw creativity anymore.
Yeah. Do you feel we are struggling or falling behind? Because I know this was something that, you mentioned in our conversation before this.
Like in general or like creatively?
I guess more personally, do you feel that, because of all the things that are kind of distracting you in life, do you feel like that's holding you back?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, I could be farther in certain things if I didn't have to handle this or this wasn't a factor or X, Y, and Z. But I guess you also have to remember that you go at your own pace, and it's better to have something build up slowly than to just get it all in one go and then it all crash down because you don't know what to do with it.
I see. Do you think this is a problem that is a part of a lot of people in our generation?
Yeah.
That feeling of being behind?
Yeah. And obviously, a lot of it has to do with social media because people only post the good parts of their lives. Yeah. I mean, people post all these shopping sprees, but you don't see that they just charged their credit cards $10,000 and they're probably going to return all of that after the camera's off.
Yeah.
It's just hard seeing it sometimes. And then that's when I usually have to unplug from social media and give myself a break. Like, this isn't real. Some parts of it are real, but it's like a lot of it's not. Yeah. People only show you what they want you to see.
Yeah. Like your commentary on Michael Jackson is real.
Yeah, that's always real.
That's always real. Yeah. But the shopping hauls and things like that, those are very much for the views.
Yeah, and there are people who even do Michael Jackson videos for views, but that's never been me. And I feel like that's why people like watching my content, because they can tell it comes from my heart.
I see. What would you say is your appeal to Michael Jackson? Is it just his music?
No. It feels like a very delusional answer to say, mm-hmm. But there's just something so magic about him. I don't know, he just transcends time, I feel. And I know I sound very crazy right now.
No, that makes sense.
But, it's like there are children who weren't even alive when he was, and they're massive fans. I just feel like he just has this aura about him that so many people can relate to. Because although he was the, proclaimed the king of pop and has all these accolades and things like that, you could also see the other side of that, which is that he had a very difficult upbringing and that he struggled a lot with loneliness and he was shy, and it's like he was just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like celebrities really are just like the rest of us. It's just they have more money and resources, obviously.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do really like a lot of the Jackson 5 stuff. Does Michael Jackson to you, does he represent something as well? Is he like a role model for you?
Well, the more that I've gotten into making my documentaries and things about him, I wouldn't really call him a role model to me, just because he's a deeply flawed person, just like all of us. I kind of just see him as a human, not to say that he's not a role model, but I mean, I just try to see him as a guy that says he sometimes.
I love that. Have you seen the all Michael Jackson he's and grunts video?
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I love that one.
If you haven't seen that one, then you definitely been under a rock. But I want to take a step back and go back to the challenges and things that our generation faces as a creative body. What do you think we can do to overcome these challenges of feeling like we're falling behind, feeling like we as creative people, we don't have the capacity to actually do something with our art because of AI or because of the corporatization of the industry?
Well, I think the one thing about all of us that are creatives is that we got into this stuff because we love it. And I think that that should be the main thing above everything. You do it because you love it. And as people say, you love what you do and you do what you love. So despite not making it big or feeling like you're going at a slower pace than other people, just don't forget why you started it.
Yeah. So don't necessarily just do it for the money.
Well, that's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would love to make some money.
Of course it'd be nice, but I feel like, if you keep doing what you're doing, that eventually those things may come to you in their own time.
Yeah. Rather than focusing on that, just focus on being true to yourself and enjoying what you do.
Yeah, because I feel like people can tell, like, when you're just doing something to get money versus when you, like, genuinely care.
Do you think that's a problem? Like, do you think that's something that, like, we obviously have, like, normal jobs, but then we get to flex our creative muscles outside of that. Do you feel like that's a problem for people just going through the motions, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. You got bills to pay, you got things to do, you need some money, but it's like, I've watched videos of creators who will, like, they have, like, ads in their videos. Like, they'll, like, have a sponsor and they'll, like, start talking about whoever is sponsoring the video. And then it just makes me want to skip through it. But there are the ones who will put the sponsor in it, but they'll kind of incorporate it in the video a little bit. So it makes it seem like you're not even, like, listening to an ad. And I feel like that comes from, like, that place of, like, loving what you do and everything. Like, it's not just, I have to make money, I have to grind. And that's a whole different thing too, the whole grind culture. And it's like, why do you want to work yourself to the bone?
Yeah.
Like, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are times where you'll have to work hard, but, like, do you have to do that 24/7, 365?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't think that the grind culture is necessarily conducive to a healthy lifestyle. I think that there's elements of it that are good. Like, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. You should be focused. You should, treat yourself with respect, treat your body with respect, all that sort of thing. But when you're talking specifically just about grind culture, where it's like, man, if I don't wake up at 5 a.m., I'm a bad person. Like, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's, what are you working towards? Like, you got to have a passion and a purpose.
And, like, are you enjoying life at that point?
Yeah.
Like, does anything bring you happiness?
Yeah. I think that's another issue that I've noticed, is there's kind of a divide. I see a lot of, that hustle culture, I guess you would call it, grind culture, hustle culture, where it's this overexertion of energy into trying to complete something or get something done, or make as much money or get your business off the ground or whatnot, whatever it may be. But I think that we lose that sense of enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
And yes, times may be hard, but if you can't enjoy life, then if you can at least enjoy what you're doing for some part of the day,
yeah,
where is the purpose in doing that? And I think that one thing that our generation is good about is asking those questions. Why should I be doing this? But there is that whole sort of weird culture that's kind of grown in our generation the past couple years, from what I believe.
It's really just all about balance.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good way to put it. Which I think is something that, I still struggle with that as well.
I do too.
So along those same lines of, like, balance and whatnot, what are you doing to keep yourself on the right path of fulfilling your dreams?
Well, a lot of what I do is just, like, having proper structure. I think that's, like, the number one for me. It's, like, making time for the things that I love, as well as making time for the things that I have to do. And even if that means like sacrificing something else sometimes.
Yeah. So a couple more questions for you. So kind of circling back to the beginning. Do you see yourself staying in Columbus?
It's hard to answer. Because it's like, contrary to popular belief, I don't hate it here. Like, it's my home. I've been here my whole life. And there are times when I've traveled out of state and then I come back and it's like, wow, I'm just glad to be home.
I see.
But I'm not against moving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against living somewhere else. I guess nothing's just called out to me yet.
Yeah. You still have a lot of life left to live.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go next with film?
Well, I just really like it if like a film that I wrote would get made by someone, anyone really, but I just want to advance more with the writing aspect, of course, like working on my script writing and potentially dabbling in directing. But, you know, that's still a hard one for me.
Yeah. Well, since Terrell will obviously be listening to this, I'm sure that he can make your movie get on the big screen.
Well, I don't want to, I don't want to throw it in his face. He can do whatever he wants.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, but he should definitely.
Well, since Michael said it.
Your YouTube, where do you want to go with that?
That's one that I kind of juggle with like every day because there's so many like videos that I want to make. But because I'm a one-person team and I do all the writing and the editing and on top of everything else in life, that's where it goes back to making time for your creative passions. But I just want to keep making content. I want to keep making videos. I want to figure out how to balance it in a better way so that I don't just upload, once every 6 to 12 business months.
Yeah, I feel that. What is one piece of advice that you would like to give to the audience? Could be about, your creative career or just life advice.
Just do what's true to you. Don't feel like you have to be like somebody else or do something you saw on social media. Just be yourself and the followers will come, even if they're slow.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I like that. Be yourself. I feel like that really kind of encapsulates our whole conversation and who you are.
Aw. I just feel like it's also, I know it's very cliche advice, but like truly, the right people will find you if you're just who you are. And then it's like, then you won't have to worry about like switching up or like whatever. Yeah. And people turning on you because you were one way and now you're this way. And it's like, just be who you are.
Putting on a facade.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. My guest today was Hannah Savage. If you would like to find out more about Hannah's work, check out Hannah Savage on Instagram and YouTube. For more exciting interviews with people from all over the globe, tune in once a month to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts and look up the New Human Project podcast. Follow us here and on Instagram at TNHP_podcast. For updates, content releases, free resources, or everything TNHP, subscribe to the TNHP Updates mailing list. Details for subscription are available on Instagram. I am your host, Michael Swigert, and I thank you for joining me today on the New Human Project podcast.